So my name's Colin Hart. I've been in post-acute longer than I want to admit, but we're coming on 20 something years. Done everything in the post-acute space, at a building and then in management and now tech for the last 10 so years. And where this came from was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. We were sitting around and we were putting files and scanning stuff and putting them into the chart. And we just said, I'm like, this has got to be a better way to do this. And so we built this app probably 7 years ago and used it for a few years. And then PCC actually came to us and said, oh my goodness, like that's the only thing out there. Can you guys put that in our marketplace? And so we did about 5 years ago, we built this as our first app in the PCC marketplace. We now have 8 apps in the marketplace. I'm sure Tommy can send you all that info later, but this is our first one. It's my favorite one, mainly because it is a humongous time saver. And I'm going to try and guess how you're doing your scanning now, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, or I'm probably going to be close because it's usually only one way to do it. But if I have a piece of paper in my hand and I'm trying to get it into the chart in PCC, I'm usually going to walk over to my scanner or copier or whatever I'm using. Sometimes it's a desktop scanner, whatever. I scan it usually to my email. Then I go in my email and I save the PDF. Then I go into PCC and I find the resident. I open up the chart. I go into the documents tab and I upload and categorize it, put an effective date, and then upload it. And then kind of like a rinse and repeat, right? For every single document. That's the process. That sound about right?
Yep.
Okay. It's easy for me to guess because, like, as you know, there's really only one way to do it without this app. That's the way you do it. So everybody's like, how'd you guess? Like, well, it's because the only way to do it. And that's why we built this. It's not bad. If you're doing 1 or 2 documents, it's not the best way to do it, but it's not that bad. When you're doing a ton, it's very, very slow to do it that old way. And then what I saw when I was in the buildings was it made it so a lot of documents never made it into the chart, right? Because it just was too much of a pain. We were very selective because, hey, no, this has to go and this isn't as important. And then as you start adding on other things, not only from a compliance standpoint, right? I want a full chart, but then it becomes, every other thing you're adding, like we have a triple check app. Triple check only works if all the documentation's in there. And if, people haven't done it because it's still sitting on a paper chart, that app's not as good. So getting that document in there, having a complete chart is critical. And so that's why we really pushed on this. And we feel like it's made a tremendous difference in all of our customers. It's taken it from, a 2-minute average down to less than 30 seconds. I'll show you how you can be even faster than that. As I go through this, if you have a question, interrupt me, stop me. I talk all day. So in order to get a word in with me, you have to interrupt me because I'll just keep going. It does not hurt my feelings at all, but feel free to interrupt. I want to, make good use of your time. This app, believe it or not, there's a ton to it. And I could spend an hour or 2 on it, but I want to go kind of quick to save you time because I think you're going to understand it very fast. And then I can kind of hit on some of the features. If you're like, oh, tell me more about that, I'll dive into it and we can go that way.
Okay.
Couple things about the app. Web-based. Best reason for that is you don't have to install anything, right? It's a site you go to. It works just like PCC. We lock it down to your facility's IP addresses. We do have remote access. It does require 2-form authentication, whether it's a text code or like Duo or one of the apps. You get to determine who gets that. What we find is most of the times, like let's say our corporate office or our services offices, they don't even let the buildings know there's remote and they have it. And because most of the time buildings don't need it, right? I'm not at home scanning documents, but it does have it if you need it. A lot of times it might be for, let's say, your help desk if they're doing stuff after hours or stuff like that. So it does have remote access. It is connected to PCC, and the coolest part about that is when I get an admission, I don't need to put them in here. It's automatically going to be in here. So all my admissions, all my discharges, we even do all your new status, and that would be like waiting list. If you put someone on a waiting list, maybe you're doing marketing, CRM, right? That status, the new status, those are in there as well. And then all your document categories, everything we need to know to push a document to the chart, we're pulling automatically from PCC. So all you have to do at a high level, get a document in here and then just tell it where to go real fast. 3 ways you get documents in our system. Scanners is the big one, right? That is where most of the documents come in. I think it's like 78% or 79% of the documents come from scanners. What's cool about the app, I'm not going to steal Tommy's thunder. He might have already told you this, but on the cost, it's a flat cost. So what's neat about that is, it started in my building in MedRec. And by the time I was done and leaving, it was in every department and it was on every scanner and the price was still the same, didn't change. So a lot of times you might have MedRec as the primary, but I also put it on my copiers at the nurse station so CNAs could scan, and then as my MedRec would then upload it for them. So there's a million ways you can set it up. You can put it on all the devices. You can have as many users as you want, but it doesn't change the price. So I highly recommend putting it on a bunch of devices. So copiers, scanners, desktop scanners, printers that scan, anything that scans can have access to it. You can also, as a second way to get documents in, you can drag and drop, right? Probably years ago, it was a little more common. People might email you documents, say, whatever, I get a couple documents. I can drag and drop them right here to this top. It's going to import them, and then boom, those documents are right there. That's the second way. And third is eFax. Now, we do eFax a little different. We don't sell eFax numbers. We want you guys to own the numbers and use whatever vendor you want to use. As long as they're HIPAA compliant, we'll make it so you can send and receive faxes from the app if you want, and it's 100% free. A lot of times what happens is our MedRec might want a fax number to give out to, a pharmacy or a doctor or whatever, and it just comes right into the app. You can use whatever vendor you want. Again, we don't sell the numbers. If you don't have eFax now, we can help you with some great suggestions. But that's how we do it a little different. Most of our customers already have eFax, so we just integrate that in here as well. So any copier, drag and drop, and eFax, those are the big three. Now, once a document is in here, I simply click the document. Now, this is a simple one pager, right? This is the document right here. 4 things you have to know when you're putting a document in PCC, whether you're using our app or you're using, the traditional way to do it in PCC. And that's obviously I got to know which resident, right? But I also have to know the effective date, the category, and then a document name. So those 4 questions are over here to the right. Effective date is today by default. I can change it to anything I want. These are my residents.
Can you change that default to not be today?
Yeah, up here in the corporate, you'll have a settings where you can set it for all the buildings, and you could say, make default 2 days ago, 1 day ago, 5 days ago, whatever.
Or blank. Like I know in PCC it's set up for today, but a lot of times you're adding documents from previous dates and people forget to change it.
I don't know. I'll have to ask. If it's not in there, I'm sure it can be. I haven't had that one asked of me, but that's a really great question. I'm going to take a note real fast. And then I can find out for you.
That's just a current issue with our system is people forget to change that.
What I find is like most people still don't decipher between effective date and upload date. And it's always that confusion, like, but the date says today. Like, yeah, but the effective date you put was a week ago. And so there's that kind of funny thing. I will find out right after the call. I think it's in there, but I would think if you could put a date, you could put no date. So, but I'll find out for sure. Okay, so residents, these come from PCC, right? You get to determine how long you want your discharges to show in. So you'll see here I have last name, comma, first name, then I have that D, that's my status for discharge. I would have an A for active and an N for new. In the corporate settings or settings, you determine how long. So maybe you want to do, I have some customers that only do a month worth of discharge, and I have some that do like 7 years. It's really up to you. It just determines how long that drop down is, right? That's the it's just how big that is. And then some people have strategies on like, well, if I show less, they're going to get the documents in there faster. I don't know if I agree with it, but that's the logic. And so you can change that. Maybe I'll pause for a second and just, there's only 3 kinds of access in our system. And this is really it'll mean a lot to you. So you have a corporate access. It's kind of like your EMC when you're in PCC. And then you have your settings, and then you have your normal user. A lot of times what our multi-site places do, this settings button, they don't use anything in here. And I'll walk you through it in a minute. But a lot of times, like you would set it up through corporate for all of your buildings, and then you don't give any facilities access to change any of those settings. Typically, that's what we see in those. Just so when I'm kind of bouncing back and forth and I say corporate and settings, you can block it so that they can't see any of those settings or change them at all. So you don't want them being like, oh, I changed the discharge date. And you're like, oh, you shouldn't do that. But sidetrack there. So what's cool about the drop downs, you can search them all. So like I can type a first name, it finds Jack. I can put a number in there if I want, right? I can put anything I want. It's going to find that resident. Same with my categories. So these are all the ones from PCC, whether they're the default ones or the ones you make. I'm going to do progress note as an example. It just finds it. Now notice here when I pick my category, it types a name for the document. We have a system in here, and I'll show it to you when we get into the settings, but you can actually create a template for each category type that will pre-name the document if you'd like. This is a thing you can turn on or off, and you can
Okay.
turn it on for just certain categories or all or whatever. But what's really nice is like, when I would review a chart, people's charts were a mess. Now, when
Mhm.
we turn this on, it's all the same. You're from a compliance and I'm auditing a chart. I can do it really fast now because all the naming's correct. And I'll tell you a little funny thing is when people would audit my charts, you do Control F to find a document real fast. If you
Yep.
ever try to do influenza, you'd never find mine because I still don't know how to spell influenza because the U and the E and it's just this funny thing and everybody teases me about it. So I always try and get ahead of it. But that's really cool because if I pick one, I don't have to type influenza. It's going to do it automatically for me. You can see I have all mine set up here where it's the category name and then the resident name. I can do any kind of thing and I'll show you that later. So really, if you null out the effective date, you would just fill out these three things and then I just hit one of the green buttons. I don't even have to name it. Now I could if I wanted, and you can turn this on or off where you give them the ability to edit the document name once you pre-fill it, or you can block it so they can't. So it's a setting you can do in there as well. And then I just hit one of these two green buttons. They're both say upload, so they're both going to push it to PCC. The only difference is what happens after that. This will return me to the home page. This will load up the next document. So if I'm trying to go through mine really fast, I'm going to hit that. That document just got queued up to go to PCC, and this is my next document. They all kind of look the same, but that's all you do. The way our system works, we're going to send that document in a batch. So every couple seconds, that's like 15 seconds, we push everything in the queue. So the longest you'll wait is about 30 seconds for a document to get into the chart. Typically, it's like within 2 or 3 seconds, it's out of there. So you just go in, pick your resident, pick your chart or your category. That's it, upload. And then it's on to the next document. Make sense?
Yep.
Pretty easy, right? I don't want to overcomplicate how simple it is. Let me show you some of the things that I love that make it even faster. So here's a 24-page document. Let's say I scanned them, or maybe it's even a fax that came in, whatever, but some pages go to one resident, some go to another. I mean, they could all go to the same resident, but you want to break them into separate categories. Obviously,
Mhm.
I can't use this menu here because that's only going to do one. But up at the top, I have this split PDF. So when I do that, it takes up this menu. And you can see here, I'm going to split this into two documents, but I could do as many as I want, up to 50. So in this 24-page document, I'm going to say pages 1 through 6 go to resident Chloe Cameron, and that's her ancillary. Then I'm going to say 7 through 9. They're going to go to Chloe Cameron also, but that's actually her just a clinical document. I'm going to do 10 through 24 are going to go to a different resident and a different category. And then I can even overlap them. I can say, you know what, let's do all the pages to somewhere else as well. So I'm overlapping them, right? I'm sending them all.
Mhm.
Whatever you put in here, it's going to do. I don't have to use all the pages. I can overlap. I can do whatever I want. It tells me how many pages are going. Then I hit split. And now 4 documents just went into the chart in PCC. So what's really cool about that, I can scan in bulk and then go back to my desk and then quickly separate them really fast.
Is there a max number of pages you can do for that?
No, there's not. The only max you're going to have in here is you can split it up to 50 different documents. The
Okay.
reason we stop at 50, and I mean, that's even high, I don't think anybody ever uses 50.
No.
Um, at 50, like for me, I kind of get confused and I'm like, I think I just scan too much. I gotta do smaller batches. That's kind of why we did it. If for some reason you're in it and like, let's say you're on, number 25 and your computer kicks you out, it will remember where you are when you load it again. So you don't have to load those all up again. So we have all kinds of autosave features in there, but still like 50 seems a little aggressive to me. I mean, most people I think are like 20 and under is pretty
Mhm.
common. But in terms of the total number of pages for a document, no. You can put as many pages as you want. In fact, a lot of our customers, when they come on, are paper charting, and they use this to scan an entire chart. So there'll be like a PDF with 600 pages, and they'll do that
Okay.
in there as well. Which
What
brings up oh, go ahead.
what would happen if like one of those pages I found was s- the scan didn't come through? Would there be a way to kind of delete one of the pages?
Yeah, you can go into here. Let's go right here. So I can delete a page or I can delete a
Okay.
document. So let's say I'm on page 2 and I want to delete that. I can actually just delete page 2 from it.
Oh, awesome.
So it will just get rid of that one as well. What I typically do, let's say I'm sending this to one person, I still use the split because it just seems faster for me. Let's say, I don't want page 12. I'm just going to do 1 through 11 and I'll do it this way. You just kind of get in the habit of it. But if you're trying to delete page 6 in the middle, that's how you would do it, by that delete page option.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking if they're like scanning also double-sided and one document is just blank.
Yeah. Yeah. Our system too will, if you send, so a lot of the older copiers, you set it by default to like double-sided, and then it always sends you 2 pages, right? The one that has something and then a blank one. If it's totally blank, our system will remove the blank page.
Okay.
But the downside to that is, like, if there's, sometimes there's like stuff on the glass and it kind of has a little mark, it won't delete that. So a lot of times people say, "Hey, I
Okay.
thought you said it deletes it." I'm like, well, there's a little thing there because I would rather not delete it and have you do it because I don't want to lose something for you, right? I'd
Right.
much rather you have to do that. So there is an auto delete for the white pages, but it will have to be totally blank. And it's not a visual thing; it's actually in the PDF, the document itself. It does it. So
Okay.
kind of leads to our next thing, which is my other favorite one. PCC has that maximum file size when you're uploading,
Yep.
right? Everybody's is a little different. It's usually about 10 megabytes or somewhere in that range. So this is a bad example because it's a very small file, but let's pretend this is 15 megabytes and my maximum is 10. If I do it from PCC, right, when I go to upload it, it's going to say, "Sorry, Colin, you got to shrink that file or cut it in 2 or whatever." And then it's going to make me re-upload the whole thing. When I have a 15 megabyte file and I hit these green buttons, it will just take the file. It won't even tell you there's a problem. And then when it gets into the chart, you will see something like this: part 1 of 2, and then 2 of 2 automatically. And it's going to split it into as many sections as it needs. People will always ask me, "What's the maximum?" I don't know. The most I've ever seen was 68, 1 of 68. But I've heard people say over 100. And it's usually like a full chart being scanned or crazy high res, labs or your x-rays, stuff like that. But typically it's like I scanned a whole chart because we're going from paper and you'll get something like that. But all that to say, you don't have to worry about the maximum file size anymore. This will do that automatically. Right. Other things you could do in here, you can add notes to a document like, please don't, oops, there's my spelling, sorry. Please don't delete. I can even change the name of the document. Maybe you have your fax turned on and I'd say, this is Collins. Goodness, my spelling is bad today. And then when I go back to the homepage, you'll actually see it right here and you'll see the note. So that way people don't delete it. Now, one of the things with the system, you can set it up a million different ways. From a security perspective, let's say all 3 of us work in the same med rec department. I can set it up so when I scan, all 3 of us see it. But I can also set it up so when each of us scans, we only see what we scanned. What I did in my building before before I was leaving and going full time into this, each department had their own. So admissions, when they would scan, they would see only their stuff. But my med rec could see everything because I never want anything to get stuck in here, right? Oh, I scanned it, I forgot to upload it. So med rec would see everything, but admissions would only see their stuff. And we have outsourced rehab, so they would scan documents and med rec would make sure they get through because sometimes they get busy and forget to upload them. So you can do all kinds of things like that. The other thing that's really cool, multiple buildings, MedRec goes LOA for a little bit. I can set it up so Tommy now has access to that other building. So as long as they're scanning, Tommy can go in, change his building up here and start uploading documents for them. So you can quickly do that on the fly. Really nice feature for LOA, but also we have a couple customers now who centralize the uploading. We have one who has, out of the country people doing the upload or doing the categorizing and people scanning at the local buildings. So it's very, very flexible on how you can set that up as well. I'm going to go back into here. We did talk about fax. Again, however you're doing your fax now, if you have an eFax, awesome. But we can turn this on here and you can turn it on or off. But I can go in here and I can say, I'm going to send it from this number. I have an address book in here. I'm going to send it to Dr. Smith. I can have a cover page saved in here. Your notes. Here are your notes. And then I can send the eFax and delete the document, or send the fax and send to PCC. So I'm going to do that. Now it just queued up that fax to go. And keep in mind, it's using whatever fax service you're using. And then I just push that document into the chart as well. So the fax integration is pretty awesome. We do not charge for it. It's just something we put in. And the main reason is, when I was helping in MedRec, it's so frustrating when you're like, oh, I'm in this app for this, and then this app for this, and then, it's just a pain. So we put it all together. You can send and receive faxes. Here's a fax I got. I can click this. Oh, look, that's from Dr. Jones. I know that's for Jennifer L. And boom, that document is now in the chart in PCC. So that fax integration is pretty awesome. You probably noticed an HRIS tab. This is a feature we also offer for free, but just like you're sending to PCC, you can send documents into your payroll system. So today we're using Kronos, UKG, and ADP. So I can set it up so my payroll has access. Now maybe payroll doesn't see the point click care icon or the fax, they just see HRIS. Then I have my employees, I have my categories, and I'm just pushing a document out into my Kronos. If it's something you're interested in, you just let us know and we can help you turn it on and configure it. We are turning it on today for, I'm going to mess these up, Paycom, Paycor, Paylocity. Those are the three that are next. And then I think Northwest is next. And so we're just kind of going through a list of all of our customers and turning those on as well. Really neat feature if you're getting your documents in. A lot of times it's like nurse brings in a nurse certification or license and they want to scan it and get it into their employee file. So it's a great feature in there. Now, I'm going to kind of bounce around, but the core feature of the scanning, does that all make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to bounce around up top here. eFax, pretty simple, right? It's a list of all my faxes. I can see where they are, what's going on with them. History, we keep a log of everything you've ever scanned. So we're going to push that document to PCC. It's going to get in the chart within a couple seconds. If for some reason that document, the PCC is down, they're having an outage, something's going on, we're just going to keep sending that document every couple seconds until it makes it into the chart. We won't stop until it gets in there. Pretty rare that it happens. We've been with PCC, like, I think we're coming on 13, 14 years. Back in the day, maybe a little more outage, pretty solid today. So not much. What I do see, and I get this on Sunday sometimes, you have people running Sunday at 2 a.m. and that's the kind of maintenance window. So they'll say, hey, I uploaded a document, and we just push it right when they come right back on. But even that window is like minutes now, where it used to be a couple hours. So they're getting pretty good. But all that to say, if it's not uploaded to the chart, it would say uploading, or I think it would say sending to PCC, something like that. But this is a list of everything in there. We never get rid of this. So at any time, you could look by your employee, by your resident, by the category, and it would show you where that document is, when it got uploaded, and we do not keep the PDF. So once that document makes it into the chart, we delete the PDF. We don't need to keep it, but that transaction log we will keep forever. I can do it by date. I can sort by resident. I only have discharges, so here's all my residents. Here's all the documents. I can look at my new admissions if I wanted to, and then this would be my Kronos. If I'm connected to Kronos, this is all my pending documents for them. Under settings, I won't go through this whole thing. I mean, if you click password, you're going to change your password, right? If you're a normal user, you just see these three things. And the one I would highlight for a normal user is the training. We have great training videos on here. So if you have a new med rec coming into one of the buildings, they can go in here and get training. But we also always do free training. So they can click this button. Let's say you have new med rec, they click the button, they're going to go into a calendar, they're going to go training, and I can do it Monday at 10 a.m. So, one business day later, I'm getting free training, and it's always free. One-on-one, they're going to jump on a call just like we're doing now and train them and take as long as they need. So a really cool feature we always do. We just find it's better to get them up to speed, and then they can use the program really well. Videos are great too. I'd say it's probably 50-50. People watch videos and go, but also the training as well. All the other stuff in here. The one I do want to cover is that categories. So inside of here, remember when I clicked like activity, it renamed the document, or it named the document. This is where I can make those templates. So I can add today's date or whatever I want in here. There's a bunch of options, or I can just start typing and it'll do it as well. I can do it per category, but I have all mine the same. I can make them unique if I wanted. And then once you set it up once, from the corporate menu, you can apply it to multiple locations. So you only have to do it once and then push it to all your locations. What I was saying earlier about the access, having really 3 access, if you're, let's say you set everything at your location, at the services man, like the service center, let's say, and then your users are the other users. There's no admin. You just would turn this off and nobody would see these things
Mhm.
where they would add users and stuff. But you would then have all of that done from the corporate tab. So this is your corporate tab, very similar to the EMC. I can see my facility details. I can go in and see how many people are using it, what categories documents are going into, what users, if they're having trouble logging in, all kinds of stuff in here. As well as I can make changes to my password policy. I could bulk edit things if I want to adjust, which features are on or not and stuff like that. We do offer single sign-on if you're using it. We also have the SIM, which is the auto configure if you're using that as well. Very simple to set up, right? You would just go in here. There's a guide, how it says to SSO. A lot of our bigger customers are doing that. Are you guys using SSO now?
We are not.
Okay. If you do, when you get to it, let me know. It's great. It also has what we call SCIM, which is the auto configuring. So when you do set up SSO, you can set it up so when a new user goes to log in the first time, if certain things are met, it will create the account. So you don't have to manage those accounts. So that's
Mhm.
one way you can automate that. There's two more. Obviously, I can go under users and create users, but if you have multiple buildings, that's never fun. It's a lot, right? The other way, and a lot of our customers that aren't SSO yet, they're just passing us like a payroll file, like a list of employees they want or contractors or whatever, and our system will auto config that. So we can accept it in a million different ways. We have a whole document I can send you that describes that, but it will auto configure them as well. So that helps a lot, and to disable them, change access if you need, and all of those things. Pretty easy way to do it. Um, let's see. Oh, two other things I would hit. We do have a lot of integrations in here. So an example, this is our DocuSign one. A good portion of our customers are using the document manager PCC, and a good portion are using something else. And so we're constantly adding integrations into here, kind of like the HRIS system. So we do have a DocuSign one, we have a SignNow one, but it's very similar to how PCC's document manager works. And our goal is never to replace it, but if you're using it now, it's really nice. I can go in here, I can create a DocuSign agreement. I can pick a resident. Let's see, I'll pick Karina, and it's going to pre-fill the document, and then it's going to send it out for signatures. Then when the signatures are done, it comes right back into our app, and you can upload it into the chart. So it's a very cool, if you're using DocuSign already, really easy way to use that and then have it integrate into the system. So a lot of times admissions would use this, create the document, and then it comes right back into here. We have a lot of integrations. You can see them under the integrations tab. A lot of eFax ones, payroll, triple check, a bunch of different things. So we connected with Medline, triple check, DocuSign, SignNow, a bunch. Those are just mine in here. We also have integrations with storage. So some of our larger customers say, hey, we want to make sure we also get a copy of all the documents, send them to us. So we have the ability to do that. If you're doing like in Azure or Google Cloud or something, we can send you all the documents that are uploaded as well. So a bunch of features like that. That was a ton of stuff. I hope I didn't overwhelm you. I get excited about showing it, but
No,
any
no, it's awesome. Um, the one thing I am thinking of is like we acquired some buildings from a different company, so we've got a lot of duplicates in our system. Is there a way to shut off categories so no one can add any to that?
such a great question, and we did this differently. So and sometimes in PCC you want to keep the category on, but you just don't want them uploading to it in
Yep.
here. So let's say this is an active category in PCC. I can change this to no or yes, and then it will or won't show that. So
Okay.
I can go in here and hide them. And that's really common, right? Because you're like, oh, stop using that one. We retired it, but I
Yes.
don't want to remove it. This is where you do it.
Okay.
Um, the only thing I would say with it is this is unique per building. So if activity is, let me see, maybe they put it in already. Yeah, there will be a yes, no right here. Um, but the downs you'll see in here, like this ADR is in one location and this ADR is in 12 on my test ones. So it gets a little confusing. And that's when people, we're just a merge and acquisition kind of industry. So that's what happens. Sometimes you have two different ones,
Yeah.
but you could turn them on or off probably in
Okay.
the next version from here, or you just go in here and do it as well. So that's
Okay,
that's a
awesome.
really common one. Yeah. Yeah. That was a great question. I haven't heard that one in a little bit. It's a good one.
Yeah, but so it's a common issue is where we're trying to give them like a guide of what to use, but people still use the wrong one. And
I know all
sometimes they
of that.
use one, sometimes they use another. So it's like consents are in two different places in the chart.
Yes. I know that very well, auditing as many charts as I've done over the years. And then, like I said, the spelling and the categories, it's a pain. Awesome. Any other questions? That was a great one.
Do you have anything where like AI is going to help them determine the category?
Great question. Yeah, in all of our apps, we have AI that we're putting into it, and we're doing it very differently than a lot of other customers. We're going to always have a non-AI version and an AI version. Okay, so our non-AI version is this one. Our AI version will try and guess, and you might load up this, and it's going to look like this, and then you confirm it. It will never push a document without someone's eyes on it, right? You never
Yeah.
want to do that. But the AI version we're testing now will do this, and then they
Okay.
confirm it. But we'll
Okay.
always have two, and you can use either or. So there's just a different, like when we set up your account, we say AI version or no AI, and then it tells you that. Some of our customers are still on the fence, and we want to just, honor that and not have AI touching a platform at all. And then some want to have it. So we're doing that. And that's in all of our apps. Like we have a pretty robust auditing one as well, and some want AI and some don't. And so same concept.
Okay. Mm.
Where are you guys on? Where are you landing on the AI part?
We haven't used it yet. We're looking into some products right now, but I'm definitely interested in it.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like that's been in the development and just space. That has been the conversation for so long. And just how you know your data safe, what's your responsibility as a facility or as a corporation versus the develop. Like it's a funny conversation, and I'll tell you, like nobody has nailed it yet. No, it's still kind of out there. I'm still trying to understand it as well, like where liability is from a customer versus a provider, and just it's a funny one, but it seems to be kind of getting a little better, and so I think maybe the frenzy's kind of dying down, and you're seeing some great products with it now. Like I said, our audit one, we have an audit one that is just amazing with AI, and it'll do full COC audits and progress note audits and all kinds of stuff. And then even our manual one, non-AI, is pretty awesome too. It'll do full admission audits and stuff. So I can see a place for both. They're both great.
I think
All right.
that's all my questions for the product wise. And then the next question is the cost.
Pricing. Easy. Well, it is a tier pricing structure. You guys are over 50 facilities, is that correct?
Actually 67.
67. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So it would be a flat rate, like Colin said, there's no additional charges, no extra fees. It'd be flat rate of $99 a month. And yeah.
And per facility, I'm assuming?
Per facility, yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Per facility per month. Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I think
Awesome.
that was really it for me.
Well, as of like timeline, is this a decision that you can make? Is this someone else's decision? Someone else has to make decision?
Yeah, I would have to get approval for it, but I definitely can see the value, and I think for the price point that's reasonable.
Sweet.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like that's funny. I love that because we're first and foremost, we're from the field, and so it means a lot when people recognize that. Our goal is keep the costs low and just make everybody happy, and it works out well over time. And so that's a big compliment to us. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I will bring it up to our team and get their thoughts, but I definitely can see the value.
Awesome.
One thing I would tell you, you can beat Tommy up a little bit and say, hey, I want to try it at 4 or 5 of my buildings for free, and he'll set it up for you.
He's more than happy to.
Don't tell him I told you that, but he'll definitely do that for you.
No, I think if we could, I'll bring it up to them, the option of piloting, and I don't know if like can you do that for 30 days to see what we think?
Typically we turn it on for a month and then try it out. Like the one thing I would say is the rollout, because the PCC part's very fast, right? You know, quick. They're like 3 business days max from in the marketplace part.
Mm-hmm.
The part that I see can take a little bit. It just depends on IT and the setup of the scanners. It's a very, very simple thing. You can do it. Some people do it in an afternoon, and then some people just, it's kind of a delay to get started. So what I would tell, is get IT, if this is something you're going to do and roll it out in a couple buildings, get them involved early, and then let's start that right when they get that done. But if you need more time, if you're like, hey, it took 2 weeks for scanners, we don't, we didn't get the full 30 days, you can just extend it a little bit. We're pretty casual here.
Okay.
We're pretty casual. And as for a timeline, I think how this will go is that I'll send you over a contract and you can review that with your team.
Okay.
And then eventually we'll do the marketplace activation. And so you go into PCC and we can just activate that. And then we'll connect our IT with your IT, and then we get it all set up and get ready to go for review.
Okay. Awesome. Sounds great.
For sure. Will there be like a time like I should expect to hear back from you? Because I don't want to be annoying and like spam you all the time, because I can be.
No,
Um,
why don't you give me at max 2 weeks? I should be able to
Okay.
get an answer by then, just in case anyone's like on PTO and I need
Yeah.
a little bit longer, but I think 2 weeks and see if I can get this approved.
Awesome, sweet. Well, hey, Alyssa, thank you so much for joining, and we appreciate all your questions and your time, and you're pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I'm excited. I think the facilities will really appreciate this as well.
Sweet.
All
Great
right.
chatting with you. Great to meet you. Have a fantastic
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, thanks. You guys too.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
How was that, Colin? Oh. Colin, you still there? No, you left.